Okay, so I've got three types of saws here. We've got the coping saw, which is what we're going to look at today. We've got a hacksaw, or a junior hacksaw, and we've got our tenon saw. Now, each of these saws have different functions, and they'll explore them in other videos. That one there, the hacksaw, is, as you can see, very similar to the coping saw, so don't get confused with the two. The hacksaw has very, very, very small teeth. I don't think you can see them there. Okay, and they are used for cutting metal. The coping saw, again, similar sort of shape with the frame of the saw, but they have slightly bigger teeth to them. And this is what we're going to have a look at. Now, because of the shape of this saw, with this large frame and a very, very thin blade, it allows us to cut curves. And that is what the key function of this coping saw is. It's to allow you to cut curves in materials. What we're going to do today is show you how to cut out a shape like this using a coping saw. If you've ever got a straight line that you need to cut out across your wood, it's better to use a tenon saw, and that'll be used in conjunction with the bench hook. When we're cutting this out with a coping saw, we need to make sure we use that with the vise. The first thing we're going to do is secure our piece of timber into the vise. Now, it's important that we do this properly. There's no point having the timber sitting really high up in the vise. It's not as stable. Now, it's not too bad with this piece of wood, but when you start cutting pieces of acrylic, which obviously you can cut with this as well, then the acrylic will start to bend. If we're cutting really bit of thin plywood and we've got it really high in the vise, the plywood will bend and wobble as well. So try and get your actual cut line as close to the jaws of the vise as you can, okay? Now, you obviously don't want it to be too close because you haven't got enough room to maneuver with the saw. So around about there for me is just fine. Now, just pinch it up nice and tight and secure. You don't need to go crazy when you're tightening that too much, please, so just be careful with that. Okay, so with this coping saw then, I tend to use two hands for this when I'm cutting with, for better control more than anything. Well, I'm starting off at a really strange angle here to try and get that thin part off at the top. Okay, as I'm cutting, you can notice the actual angle of the blade and the frame, and the frame should really run in the same direction as the line that you're cutting. As you're cutting, to get around curves, you're going to start to twist the actual handle that you've got in the direction that you're actually cutting the wood. So you can see now I'm twisting it, and the frame's going to start coming upright as I start coming down on this curve. I'm twisting on the handle, you follow that curve around, and you can see now the frame is pretty much upright. And then I'm going to have to bring it back down again as I follow that part of the curve. As I get to the end, I'm going to slow that down to make sure I get a nice clean cut. Okay? And that is how you can cut really nice curves. Obviously that still needs sanding down with your coping saw.